My next speaker is a woman of so many parts. If you're of a certain age as I am, I remember her back in the day as a VJ. She's been a broadcast host, a host of reality shows, a VJ, a model, an actor, a dancer, an entrepreneur. I run out of words when it comes to describing her. She's now also an author with a brand new book out that I'm very happy to say will be launching from this platform of We the Women today. But before I welcome her on stage, you've got to promise me that you're going to give her a rousing applause because she certainly deserves it. The wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing Malaika Arora. Thank you.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, that wasn't loud enough for me, so we want to show her some love, right?
Wow. Wow, that feels good. Woo! Yes, make some more noise.
Make some
we
more
like
noise.
Wow.
You know, yeah, thank you for being here.
I'm just trying to take it all in. It just feels surreal to be sitting over here. And I've been seeing this over the years.
Yeah.
And how amazingly you conduct this. What an amazing platform We the Women have become. So I just feel this moment, me sitting here in front of you, feels very surreal. So thank you.
And
thank
it's
you
very,
all.
very special to be talking to you. I don't know why we're doing it for the first time. I hope it's the first of many. I want to ask you, how do you do so many things? How do you do so many things? I mean, I was running out of words to capture it all. And which part of your multifaceted life captures you the best?
Wow, I think that's an often asked question. And I think it's, however cliche it may sound, the answer, I think we've mastered the art of juggling. We've mastered the art of balancing life. And I think I don't just speak for myself, I speak for every woman in this room and men out there as well who also, you know, kind of understand all that women go through on a daily basis. So I think we've pretty much understood the art of balancing. I feel, I think every single time someone has tried to say that, oh, we don't think she can do it, I think that just,
spurs you on to do it.
It just gives me that extra added irritation or frustration or that impetus to say, you know what, I can do it. So every single time someone has actually kind of, you know, chided me that in that direction, I think I've woken up the next day and said, you know what, I'm going to make this a mission. I'm going to do it. So whichever aspect I've tried to add to every single time in my life, I think I've tried to do it as honestly as I can.
But you know, here's what I see when I see your life, the little that I know about it in the public domain. You live on your own terms. You live without apology. You live with confidence. You live with assertion. Your life plays out, as it does with many famous people, in the public domain. This includes breakups, romances. This includes what you might be doing next. This includes being papped all the time.
This includes everything under the sun.
Yes. Does it get claustrophobic?
No, it doesn't get claustrophobic. It does get annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
That's about it. I think sometimes when you enter this profession, when you are in this profession, you got to come with that knowledge that all of this is going to come attached. All of this is part of the deal. You have to be a little thick-skinned, which I think along the way we kind of become a little thick-skinned.
Yeah. Are you thick-skinned?
I am.
You know, I was once interviewing Hillary Clinton and she was still Secretary of State in America, and she said, you know, Barkha, remember one thing. This is a lesson of life I'm sharing with you as an older woman. I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, if you're an opinionated, confident, successful woman, be ready to grow a skin as thick as the hide of a rhinoceros.
I agree with her completely. That's what you asked me, am I thick-skinned? Trust me, I may look like I'm really slim and slender, but behind that, I am thick-skinned, let me tell you. Nothing bothers me. In fact, the other day, my son was going through one of his days. He's a 22-year-old boy, and you know, he goes through one of his good days and bad days. And then I was like, I turned around and I said, you know what? It's fine. It's all part of growing up. One day you'll feel okay, one day you don't. And he's like, Mom, he looks at me and says, Mom, does anything affect you? Or do you just wake up every single day and you say, you know what? I'm like, yeah, but I think after a point, that's pretty much how I look at life. And I pretty much block out as much noise as I can, as much as I can. But yes, I am in a profession where there is so much of emphasis on everything, how you look, what you're doing, what you eat, where you go, etc., etc., etc. So I pretty much take all of that in my stride without complaining.
Is that something that comes with living longer? I don't like growing older, with living longer. And I'll tell you what I mean. I find that in my 20s, if somebody said something to me, I would first think they were really interested in a genuine argument. So I would argue. When social media first started, I would actually respond to trolls and engage them. And I would think, oh, if I make a good point, they're going to actually be interested. And then I realized it's all a mind game. They just want to get under your skin. At 54, I couldn't give a shit. But at 24, I did. And I want to ask you, have there been moments in your life when it felt hurtful?
Of course, I'm human and it would. There have been loads of instances where things have, kind of really riled me up or made me cry or made me upset or sad. You read something, somebody says something to you, it definitely kind of throws you off your game momentarily. And I sit, I think about it, I would stew about it, I would get harrowed, worried, all of it. And then I came to a point in my life where none of that mattered. None of it.
And how did you reach that point?
I think it was just something which I internally tried to address on a daily basis. I'm not saying I've attained some sort of nirvana over here at all. There are days when I still see something or somebody says something. It definitely, kind of ticks something in me. But I think over a period of time, there were certain aspects of my life. Something even I decided, okay, I'm going to dress a certain way, it became an issue. The length of my skirt became an issue. Me getting divorced became an issue. Me dancing after, when my son is a certain age becomes an issue. Every little thing is trolled. Every little thing is questioned. So I felt if I am going to get affected by all of that, or if all of that is actually going to dictate things in my life, I'm never going to be able to move forward or do anything because I'm going to be so stuck in the fact that 10 faceless people have something to say. I figured that out somewhere along the way. Wasn't easy, but I'm glad I figured it out sooner than later. Today I can sit down over here at 50 and say, you know what, bark all you want. I really care a damn about it. I really do.
We love that. I think we love that louder, right? Yes. You mentioned your divorce. It's one of the many sort of pegs that people have used to hang your personal life on. Your personal life gets, even on my Instagram feed, there will be some rando speculation, right? Can you imagine? No, my question is not to ask you any questions on your personal life. We don't do that here. It's a different question. How do you cope with that? How do you cope with the most personal of your relationships, the most personal of your decisions, whether it's marriage, whether it's divorce, whether it's dating somebody, whether it's dating somebody younger, whether it's breaking up with them, whether it's dating, whatever. What does that feel like? Because, every star lives in the public gaze, but because you have lived so ferociously, unapologetically, on your own terms, in such a ballsy, fiery, feisty way, I love it, people have scrutinized you even more.
I don't know why. Maybe I think people don't like a strong woman. Is that it?
I think that there are some
Do
people
actually grudge a strong woman?
We love a strong woman.
I often wonder, I do wonder, what is it? I mean, if you are tame and docile and don't have an opinion, or is that what actually works? Is that what people find attractive? I don't know. I mean, I really can't understand that sometimes because as much as there are loads of women, I'm sure, who are not very vocal about a lot of things in their life and probably find it difficult being vocal. I feel bad sometimes. I wish they had a platform. I wish they had a voice where they could actually be vocal about it. But sometimes I feel being a strong woman, you're constantly judged for being strong because... And I'm not even somebody who has an opinion 24/7. I don't do
You're
that.
Just living your life.
I'm just living my life. I'm not somebody out here to preach and tell you, live like this, do like this. Oh, I don't do that. Live and let live. I think that is something I've always believed in. I think that's my my tagline. I think the day I say goodbye to this world, it'll be, she said, live and let live, and she lived queen size. That's what it's going to say.
We love that. You know,
So coming
Yeah,
back to what you
yeah.
were actually saying, so I think we are going to have these judgments irrespective. I just feel I'm sorry, there are loads of men in this room over here, and I have utmost regard for you. I have utmost love for you, because I feel some of the men in my life are really instrumental for the woman I am today, because they've been really amazing, men in my life, irrespective whether they are past, exes, etc. But they've all had certain impacts in my life. But I think in today's day and age, a man doing it, a man living a certain life is, it's great. It's fantastic, and I'm not bashing.
No,
I really
and
am
even
not.
the language used is different, right?
Yeah, I just wonder why a man decides to move on, get, divorced, remarry somebody half his age. It's like, wow, what a man. I mean, but a woman having to do it is always questioned. If a woman has to do it, it always is looked at in a way, why would she do something like that? I mean, doesn't she have sense? So I think these are just constant stereotypes that are there that really need to be shut down.
Is there ageism in the way that they used to be, or is it better today?
I don't think it's better today.
Nothing's different?
I think things are moving at a pace. I won't think at some breakneck rocket speed. One day at a time. Things are getting better. Definitely, because there's a voice out there, women like you, the way you talk, the way you bring about change, the way you bring about a certain conversation.
Thank you.
So definitely there is a certain thought process. People think differently. I don't think it is, off the table. But it definitely is a conversation. So yes, things are getting better, but I wouldn't say it is now something that we can say, oh, you know what, I can sit back and say, great. No.
Language is shifting. And there was a time when some of the most iconic dances that you have essayed on the screen were called item numbers. Personally, a very problematic phrase as far as I'm concerned. And the language has shifted. But did you feel at that time that there was a kind of dichotomy in the response where everybody was dancing to these numbers at their weddings or their daughters' weddings, everybody was humming along and tapping along, and yet the language they were using was kind of pejorative? Did you go through that, or did you never care?
Maybe initially it didn't occur, because I don't think it made too much sense. In the sense, it wasn't really part of my scheme of things, because it was a word coined by the media. It wasn't coined by me or a producer or a director or a fellow actor. No, it was coined by the media, and I would say where we give the media so much of power, where sometimes I feel they tend to not understand certain things. They tend to misuse that. So yes, it was coined by the media, but eventually I think people realized that it sounded a little off. It sounded a little derogatory. I've said this time and time again. I have been part of various dance songs, which I have enjoyed doing. I have loved doing. People have loved it in every which way. Maybe lyrics may have sometimes been a little suggestive. Maybe sometimes it could have looked a little sexy, so to speak, as people would say. That's the language, right?
Yeah.
Never once did I feel that I was being taken, granted for, or taken advantage of, or being...
Did you feel objectified?
Or felt objectified, not once. And I say this as a woman. I mean, I know a lot of women come and ask me that, did you feel objectified? I'm like, not at all. In fact, I felt celebrated every single time I was on screen and I did a song. Yes, it's a film set, which is majority of men out there. Fair enough, probably looking at you and ogling you and gazing at you, fine. But I never once did I feel objectified. Not once did I feel that I was in a space of that I was not comfortable in. So I feel, yes, things have definitely changed on that front. I feel women today have a lot more of a voice where they feel, you know what, this is better. Let's do it this way. I don't think that's something that's meant for me, or I don't think that I'll be comfortable in that space. So yes, maybe earlier it would just be like, okay, fine, if I was told to do something, I would just, you would just do it. I think that voice and that language has changed over a period of time.
You started as a VJ. Did you ever think that you would be here today, Malaika Arora? No. What did you think your life would be like back then?
No, definitely not sitting here in front of you, Barkha, in front of an audience and having this conversation. I definitely thought I would from a VJ, I thought I would, do a few songs here and there, get married, settle down, have a kid. I thought that. I didn't think at that point, little did I realize that I'm a lot more ambitious than I actually give myself
Good for you.
credit for. So
Good
over
for
the
you,
years,
right?
yes, I realized that, you know what, I'm not happy with just that. I'm highly ambitious. I'm very, very somebody who's really hungry every single day to want to do something different and something better. So yes, and today I sit here, I feel extremely proud. I'm sure my mom, she's not here. She was
Is she
supposed to be
here?
here. She was supposed to be here.
Oh.
She's somewhere around, I know.
Is she here at the venue?
She said she's coming over here.
Let's
So she's,
find her,
I don't know,
please.
Mom, are you sitting here? I don't know. I'm not so sure because
Can
she said,
we
baby,
find
I'll see you.
Malaika's mom?
She said, I'll see you over there. So I'm sure this is a moment for her where she would be super, super proud. I think she would be the most proud lady right now.
Tell us about her. I hope we can find her.
Yeah, I don't know where she is.
I'm not sure because okay, they're checking.
She's probably
We're
somewhere.
looking for Malaika Arora's mom, public service announcement.
Oh, God.
No, but honestly, tell us about your life growing up as a young girl. VJs were a new thing then, and you said you thought your life may take a very different direction. But how were you brought up? What were your dreams? What were you encouraged to do? What were you discouraged from doing?
Wow. Okay. I think my mom I think I am what I am because of her, because she was the kind of lady who would say, go, live your dreams, enjoy your life. Please don't marry the first guy you meet, which is what I did.
Oh, you
I
did
married
that?
the first man I dated, and she couldn't understand why the hell would I be doing something like that. She says, if you're going to do that, how are you going to ever know,
Yeah.
what's out there? And I was like, Mom, chill now, I mean, whatever. But she has always been that lady who would say, live, encourage us to aspire, to actually dream, So she would be that lady. She never ever stopped us from anything, whether if we wanted to travel, I mean, whatever. Tomorrow she said, okay, fine, you want to have a drink? Have a drink. Tomorrow you feel the need to smoke. I mean, eventually we realized that, I don't like smoking and I don't like drinking. That's something I figured along the way. But she always said that, listen, if you felt like it, then please tell me as a parent. Tell me and do it in front of me, and so that I know what my daughters are up to. She's fiercely protective, my mom. Fiercely. She would fight anybody on the streets, anywhere, to protect us. And I think that's pretty much how we are. We're like her little, she's a tigress and we are her cubs. So that's pretty much how we are. And she's brought us up pretty much that way.
I really hope we can find her. Any news on Malaika's mom? All right,
don't know where
not
she
yet.
is.
They're still
Not
looking. My question to you is, are you that kind of mom? Are you, they say we eventually become our parents without even realizing it. Do you find that your mothering style or your parenting style is a lot like your mom's?
I hate to admit it, and I'm glad she's not here if she's not
No, we're
here
gonna
listening
find
to
her.
me,
I hope
because
we find her.
I hate to admit it, but yes, it's a lot like her, and a lot of the things that she's instilled in us have definitely gone forth. But I think we also have our own parenting styles. I think with time we all change. We are not those overbearing, helicopter kind of moms.
Yeah.
I think we kind of learn with times, and I think the one thing that I've learned along the way is to be a friend to my kid, and that's pretty much how
What
I
do
am.
you and your kid fight about?
What food should be cooked in the house? That's what we fight about.
This Thecha paneer recipe, even I have seen on Instagram.
Have you tried it?
I have tried it and it is delicious.
Oh, lovely.
Even I.
But then you should come to the restaurant. You should come to the Scarlet House and eat it over there.
100%. But that takes me to an interesting question, Malaika. You're gorgeous, you're fit, you're healthy, you're beautiful, and that's you. And I know that there's a book you've written about fitness, and we'll come to that. But in an age of Ozempic and Mounjaro, in an age of Botox, you argue that fitness is still easy. It's easy to be fit. Is it?
I believe that, and that's something how I pretty much live my life. That's pretty much how I have learned along the way, made my mistakes, but I figured out what works for me and what doesn't. And I think that is how eventually I came about wanting to do this book, because that was what it was. I think it was from trial and error, things that work for me. I don't judge people. You want to take any kind of added aids in your life? Sure, go ahead. That's your choice.
Would you?
Not me. Not me, because I don't think I I don't think I need it. I don't think, and when I say I don't need it, it's not because I feel I look a certain way. I feel because I have other alternatives of how I would like to live and how I would like to talk about living. So tomorrow, if you feel that you want to adopt a better lifestyle or a lifestyle that is not preachy, that a lifestyle that is not difficult to actually, go about, then I'm very happy to be that person you want to pick up the phone and speak to. No judgment if you feel the need to adopt to, whether it's Ozempic, etc. But I think there are various other ways of going about life, various other ways of being healthy.
Where is that balance? Because we're going to, you met her backstage, and for the audience, there's a young girl we'll be introducing on stage in a moment who comes from Uttar Pradesh in a small town called Hathras. And she caught my eye because I saw a video of hers where someone in her school principal or teacher is asking her, "Are you beautiful?" And she says with great confidence, "Yes, I am." And the background is that she was fighting colorism. People were mocking her for the color of her skin. And she decided to assertively say, "You know what, I'm not going to go by your definition of my beauty. I just think I'm beautiful." And before I call her out, Malaika, I want you to tell us, where is that balance between looking like Malaika Arora, who has to, of course, you have to work to look like Malaika, but also not having girls, in particular girls, lose their confidence if they don't look a certain way?
That's a very, very fine, very, very fine line over there. I think today girls have such a, an issue of dealing with it on a daily basis about how they look, body dysmorphia, things like that. Dealing with food, all of it, they're just going through it on a...
Did you ever have any self-image issues back in the day?
Back in the day, maybe I felt, because I remember back in school, they used to say, "Oh my God, she's so hip-heavy. Oh my God, she's so busty." Back in school, I remember that. So that kind of made me a little awkward. It made me feel a little weird. Maybe, for a bit, I remember that very clearly because I remember a lot of, kids saying that. But I think somewhere along the way, I figured, you know what? That's how I am. That's how I look. I love my curves. I love the way I'm the way I look in whatever I wear. So I think I should just kind of be happy with that, and I should be able to embrace the way I look. And then I somewhere along the way, I decided, that's that. You can think, however. And I've had that my entire life. Oh, she walks like this, she walks like a duck, look at her hips, look at that.
Really? I mean, you were mocked and commented?
All my life I've had that, So somewhere along the way, I figured, I'm like, you know what? This is how I am. This is my body. I love my body. You may not like it, but I have to learn to love my body. And I think that's the first thing. Learn to love yourself. I say that over and over and over again. I wake up every single day and I say that. Learn to love yourself. And I think eventually you will love yourself.
So on that note, I want to bring out the young girl you met, backstage. Can we please put our hands together to welcome Anjali? Anjali? I think we can welcome her more warmly.
Come on, everybody. That's our little Anjali here.
Malaika didi ke saath baithe.
Yes.
So, Anjali ji, आप माइक उठाएंगे? ऐसे पकड़िए. हेलो. ऑन है.
हेलो.
थोड़ा सा जोर से बोलिए.
हेलो.
हाय.
हाय.
आपकी क्या एज है?
13.
हमने आपका वीडियो देखा सबने, जिसमें आपकी टीचर या किसी ने स्कूल में पूछा, आप सुंदर हैं, आर यू ब्यूटीफुल? आपने कहा आई एम ब्यूटीफुल, है ना?
Yes.
मुझे उसकी स्टोरी बताइए, क्योंकि वो कॉन्फिडेंस जब हमने देखा, कैसे आपने अंदर से उस भावना के साथ बोला. अभी हम मलाइका जी के साथ बात कर रहे थे कि ब्यूटी जो है, जो सुंदरता का नोशन है, वो हमारे अंदर बैठता है ना? तो वो स्टोरी बताइए कि वो क्यों आपसे पूछा गया और कैसे कुछ बच्चे आपका मजाक उड़ा रहे थे पर आपने उनको जवाब देने की ठानी.
जैसे कि आजकल ज़्यादातर कलर कैरेक्टर पे उंगली उठाई जाती हैं.
कलर पे?
यस. और आधे से ज़्यादा लोग अपने सपनों को ये सोच के छोड़ते हैं कि हम सुंदर नहीं हैं. और अगर कोई व्यक्ति अपने ही प्रोडक्ट की बुराई करेगा तो कोई दूसरा व्यक्ति उसे कैसे खरीद सकता है? तो
वैसे अभी मलाइका यही कह रही थी कि लर्न टू लव योरसेल्फ.
तो वैसे ही अगर हम खुद ही मान लेंगे कि हम सुंदर नहीं हैं, तो फिर दूसरों को क्या, दूसरे तो गिराने में लगे ही रहते हैं।
आपको इतना समझदार किसने बनाया?
मम्मी पापा, टीचर्स।
मम्मी पापा हैं यहाँ पे?
Yes.
मम्मी पापा कहाँ हैं भाई ऑडियंस में? प्लीज स्टैंड। कैन वी प्लीज अपलॉड द वंडरफुल पेरेंट्स? आई विश वी कुड हैव आल्सो फाउंड मलाइका's मम्मी। आप लोगों को बहुत हम बधाई देना चाहते हैं कि आपने ये कॉन्फिडेंस अपनी बच्ची को दिया, ये आपके ऊपर भी रिफ्लेक्ट करता है। थैंक यू। अंजलि, बताइए आगे क्या अब जैसे बच्चे आपने कहा कलर को लेके कुछ कुछ कहते थे, क्या कहते थे आपको?
अभी जैसे कि कभी कभी होता है ना, फ्रेंड्स में ही बहस हो जाती है छोटी छोटी बातों
जैसे?
पे। जैसे कि तू उसके साथ बैठी, मेरे साथ क्यों नहीं बैठी, तुमने उसके साथ लंच किया, मेरे साथ क्यों
पर
नहीं
जैसे
किया?
आपके रंग कलर को लेके जो मजाक उड़ाते थे वो क्या होता था?
तो ऐसे ही कभी कभी जब भी बहस होती थी तो सबसे पहले यही बोलते हैं कि चल हट काली, ऐसे करके। तो इसलिए मैंने ये बोला कि सर मुझे कुछ प्रेयर में बोलना है। तब सर ने बोला मुझसे कि ठीक है आप बोल सकते हो। उस वक्त मैंने बोला कि मैं बहुत सुंदर हूँ।
तो आपने वॉलंटियर किया कि मुझे अपनी स्कूल की असेंबली में उठ के बोलना है, क्योंकि आपको जब ये बोलते थे चल हट काली, तो आप क्या बोलते थे वापस?
बस यही कि गोरे रंग, मैं यही बोलती थी कि आप सुंदर नहीं हो, क्योंकि गोरे रंग से सुंदरता नहीं होती है। ना आपका बिहेव अच्छा है, ना ही आपके मैनर्स हैं, ना ही आपके बोलने का तरीका अच्छा है, तो आप सुंदर कैसे हो सकते हो?
एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन बिफोर आई आस्क मलाइका टू गिव यू योर अवार्ड। आगे बड़े हो कि क्या बनना है?
सिंगर।
सिंगर? डू यू सिंग? डू यू सिंग?
मैम मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट है, मैं एक गाना गाना चाहती हूँ।
प्लीज गाओ। ओके, जल्दी से गाओ थोड़ा सा। ओके।
घायल परिंदा है तू, दिखला दे जिंदा है तू, बाकी है तुझ में हौसला, तेरे जुनू के आगे अंबर पनाहें मांगे, कर डाले तू जो फैसला। रूठी तकदीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरें तो क्या, टूटी शमशीरों से ही हो, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह रे बंदिया, हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह, कर हर मैदान फतेह रे बंदिया, हर मैदान फतेह। थैंक यू।
Thank you. I just want to say that what makes this, if I can request you to award Anjali, but what makes this forum so special to me is that actually Malaika and Anjali said the same thing. If you don't love yourself, everybody is going to drag you down. Can I ask you to do the honors, please? Anjali, ये आपके लिए मलाइका जी की तरफ से. Let's give it up for Anjali. और हमारी तरफ से भी. More power to you. More power to you. Thank you, Anjali. Okay. Malaika, we still have to honor you, which is going to come from me. But before we do that, we have a book to talk about. If we can please bring out Malaika's book. I am waiting for it and it will come soon. Thank you. Before we launch this book from this forum, and I'm so proud that we're launching Malaika's book from the We the Women Forum. It's easy to be healthy. Malaika's Guide to Living a Good Life. Tell us, what are the secrets in this book?
Firstly,
is it really easy to be healthy?
Firstly, Barka, thank you so much for giving me this. I mean, it means the world to me to give me this platform over here, to actually to hold up this book in front of everybody. I can actually say now I'm a published author, so it makes me feel really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And yes, it's easy to be healthy. Malaika's Guide to Living a Good Life. Trust me when I say this, there are little excerpts in it from my life, and every time people ask me this question, everywhere I go, what do you eat, what do you drink, how do you work out, what time do you sleep, what do you apply, things like that. I think I'm often asked these questions. I thought, you know what, why not put it all in a book. Literally, these are things that you can flip through any page and it'll come to you. Little things over there about what you can do first thing in the morning or the last thing at night before going to bed, how you can actually pack a quick lunch on the go and without having to feel pressured or guilty or having to feel that, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to shed that extra kilo? Those shouldn't be the issues in your life. Just make life a little easy and a little simple, and that's where I've come in
So
with this book.
congratulations on this book, but also, this is from the We the Women team. This is from me, for Malaika Arora for being a change maker, because you know what? She really is a change maker. She has lived life entirely on her terms, and it has been extraordinary to watch her journey. This is from all of us. Can we please have a huge round of applause for Malaika? Okay, I want to hear a bigger round of applause. Thank you. And before we let you go, because the book says it's easy to be healthy, I think we must get one little tip in this book, right? What do we want to know? Anyone? What do we want to know? Okay, ask. Can we get, yeah, mic to her, please.
I remember watching her morning routine. You know, there is a detox drink that she has every morning. Can we get that, please?
That's yours, yeah.
That's also acted together and have a little drink, and that really works wonders. So do read the book. It's
Thank you
there.
so much.
So before we let you go, what is the most misunderstood thing about health, the health conversation? You know, today everybody has so many theories. Influencers are telling you what to eat, what not to eat, and they're not doctors. In fact, in the morning we had somebody saying, listen, you can't take your medical knowledge or knowledge about health from, you know, just anybody, randomly. Share with us one thing that's in this book that you think is central to living a good life.
Something that is given very, very little importance, and probably the most underrated aspect in people's life is sleep. Believe it or not. And
Yes.
I say this a lot. People think sleep is not very important. I will actually tell you, and I talk a lot about it in my book, please do not underestimate what sleep can do for you. So get those, you know, quality sleep, and it really, really makes a world of difference to your life. And I feel few things. I feel there are non-negotiables in life like sleep, nutrition. Everybody thinks losing weight is the answer. That is really not the answer. That really isn't. I think staying healthy is the answer, and eventually everything just falls into place.
Well, thank you. I know it's hard work. It is. Sorry?
Sorry, sir?
How do you manage your time? How do you manage your time? Can I just have that mic? Can I just have that mic?
I'll tell you, I know time. Sometimes I feel that 24 hours in the day are really not enough. I wish I had a few more hours so I could pack in a few more things that I can do. But I think at the end of the day, if you love what you do,
Absolutely.
and if you enjoy and derive
The time just
that passion in
passes.
what you do, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
It just doesn't matter. It really does.
Thank you. More power
Thank
to
you.
you. And thank you so much. Please, let's give it up for Malaika Arora.
Wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Thank you, Varda.
Thank you. Thanks, Malaika. Thank you.